Yes, Taylor Swift agreed to be deposed by Brian Friedman.
What if I told you the most powerful pop star in the world just agreed to sit down and testify under oath, and that testimony could shatter Blake Lively's case completely? For months, speculation has swirled around Blake Lively's bitter courtroom fight with Justin Baldoni, Wayfarer Studios, and the fallout from It Ends With Us. But in a shocking twist, a new filing just revealed that Taylor Swift herself has agreed to a deposition, not forced, not dragged, voluntarily. And this isn't just some side note in the case. This could be the very thing that unravels everything Blake Lively has built. But how did we get here? And why would Taylor Swift, one of the most careful and private celebrities alive, agree to walk straight into the fire? Let's break down the story, step by step, and trust me, it's even more explosive than you think. It all started with what looked like a routine letter. Brian Friedman, representing Justin Baldoni's side, sent a note to the judge. On the surface, it seemed like standard back and forth over scheduling and discovery delays. Lively's team was furious that they hadn't received key Signal app messages, claiming they held some kind of bombshell evidence. But Baldoni's team countered that retrieving those messages was impossible because Signal's disappearing message function had been used. In other words, the data doesn't exist anymore. That in itself raised eyebrows, but buried deeper in the letter was something far more shocking. Almost casually, Friedman noted that one deposition needed to be scheduled later than expected. The reason? Taylor Swift. Yes, Swift had agreed to appear the week of October 20th, citing prior professional obligations. No fight, no legal battle, just a quiet yes. That single line at the bottom of the letter changed the entire trajectory of this case. For months, rumors have circulated about Blake Lively leaning on her famous friend. Allegations surfaced that Lively pressured Swift to publicly support her, even going as far as asking her to delete text messages that could incriminate her. In legal terms, that borders dangerously close to evidence tampering. Think about the optics. Blake Lively, star of a high-profile movie, allegedly begging one of the world's most powerful celebrities to cover her tracks. If true, it's not just bad PR, it's potentially devastating legally. And now, Swift herself is willing to sit under oath and talk about those very messages. Not as Blake's ally, not as her shield, but as Justin Baldoni's witness. That distinction alone speaks volumes. To fully understand the impact, we need to rewind to May. At that time, Baldoni's team had subpoenaed Swift, sparking outrage from Lively's camp. Media outlets ran with the story that Baldoni's side was exploiting Swift's name to gain attention. Lively's spokesperson even slammed them, saying they had tried to put Taylor Swift at the center of this case since day one, painting Baldoni as desperate and manipulative. Under mounting media pressure, the subpoena was dropped. Back then, Lively's team declared victory. They thought Swift was untouchable, off limits, out of play. But what they didn't count on was Swift herself choosing to testify anyway, and that flips the narrative on its head. So what exactly is at stake here? The text messages. Months ago, the judge ruled that Baldoni's team should have access to communications between Lively and Swift. Lively was responsible for handing them over, but questions remain. Did she give them everything? Or did she selectively hand over what suited her? Now that Swift will be deposed, she'll be asked directly under oath. Did Blake Lively pressure her to delete texts? Did she attempt to blackmail her into public support? Did she misrepresent Swift's involvement in the movie's production? Swift doesn't need to play games here. She doesn't owe Lively anything. And if she feels cornered, she'll likely lay out the truth plainly, especially knowing that lying under oath isn't an option. If Baldoni's team already has the texts, they may be sitting on a bombshell, waiting to unleash it in court. If they don't, Swift's cooperation could hand it to them directly. Either way, it's catastrophic for Lively. Let's be blunt. Blake Lively never expected Taylor Swift to cooperate. By all accounts, she thought she could control the narrative, hand over what she wanted, spin the story through media-friendly outlets, and rely on Swift's silence. But the second Swift steps into that deposition room, everything changes. Why? Because Swift isn't there on Lively's behalf. She's testifying for Baldoni. If she had anything supportive to say about Lively, Lively's team would have arranged her deposition themselves. They didn't. That speaks volumes. For Blake, this is the nightmare scenario. Her credibility is already under attack. Her legal team has been accused of overreaching, and now the world's biggest pop star could confirm the very rumors Lively has been denying. It's the kind of twist you can't PR spin your way out of. And here's where things get even more interesting. Blake Lively has benefited heavily from favorable media coverage. Outlets have downplayed her missteps, amplified her appearances, and painted her as a victim in this battle. But if Taylor Swift's deposition confirms damaging details, those same outlets will face a dilemma. Do they protect Blake and risk alienating Swift's massive fan base? Or do they shift sides, knowing Swift's word carries more weight globally? The ripple effect will be enormous. Every leaked snippet, every filing that references Swift's words will dominate headlines. Even if only fragments of her deposition appear, it'll be enough to tilt public perception permanently. So how is Blake preparing for this looming disaster? Believe it or not, reports suggest she's considering an entirely new career, law. Yes, you heard that right. Sources claim she's been inspired by her own courtroom drama and is exploring LSAT prep. Comparisons to Kim Kardashian have already been made, with some insiders joking that she may try to reinvent herself as a lawyer. On paper, it's almost surreal. One of Hollywood's most glamorous figures pivoting to the legal world after being engulfed in her own legal nightmare. For some, it looks like an escape plan. For others, pure desperation. Either way, it's a telling sign of just how unstable her Hollywood standing has become. Of course, we can't talk about Blake without mentioning Ryan Reynolds. Recently, he's faced his own backlash. At the Toronto Film Festival, his behavior sparked criticism, particularly an incident involving a kid reporter. Rumors of tension with Eugene Levy added fuel to the fire. Now Reynolds is touring with his John Candy documentary, but the branding raises eyebrows. Instead of highlighting the beloved comedian, the promotional material screams "An Evening with Ryan Reynolds and Friends." His photo looms larger than Candy's. Ticket prices stretch from $76 to $112, and critics say it feels less like honoring Candy and more like Reynolds trying to rehab his own image. The irony? Candy's family was deeply involved in the project, yet Reynolds has shifted the spotlight onto himself. For many, it feels tone-deaf, using a universally beloved figure to shield a controversial reputation. And just like Blake, every move Ryan makes is now being scrutinized through the lens of reputation management, not genuine artistry. The timing of all this feeds into a broader conversation about Hollywood itself. On one end, you have Amanda Seyfried, refreshingly honest about her use of Botox and willing to skip it when a role demands authenticity. Her red carpet comments about avoiding Botox for her period drama were praised as real and human. On the other end, you have stars like Blake, who some argue are so tightly controlled by image and vanity that they lose authenticity. Critics point out how Botox and fillers rob actors of facial expression, making performances less believable. It's symbolic, really. The public is craving authenticity. In art, in personal lives, in courtrooms. And in this battle, authenticity is exactly what could destroy Blake Lively's carefully crafted facade. So where does this all leave us? Taylor Swift's deposition is set to be one of the most pivotal moments in this entire saga. Blake Lively thought she had her friend's silence. Instead, she may face her friend's truth. And when that truth comes out, whether through leaked snippets, court filings, or media firestorms, it could be the final nail in the coffin of her case. Because in the end, this isn't just about Hollywood politics or PR games. It's about credibility. And once Taylor Swift speaks under oath, the world will have to decide, who do you believe? Blake Lively, clinging to a crumbling narrative, or Taylor Swift, a superstar with nothing to gain and everything to lose by lying? One thing is certain, the moment Taylor takes that stand, the story changes forever.